for the mid lane matchup as well. I mean, even as Zale was talking about on the desk, I assumed we get way more kind of facilitator mid lanes rather than what we've been seeing in the carry performance. So now I'll have to see if Xiao wants to go back towards that, but Graves on the blue side.
Yeah, RNG's the one banning away Graves, T1 banning away Aatrox, Fiora Jacks are still up, and Lissandra looks like a locked ban by T1 this series, no matter what. So we'll see what direction this draft goes in, because Graves was the prio. I think Aphelios is kind of rising in priority a little bit now with these bans by the looks of it. But yeah, if RNG first pick that, T1's just going to run back to the similar draft from last time. Heimerdinger, Ashe, get the push, and what do you play in support, Ming?
Yeah, I'm curious now if we'll actually get a change, because, I mean, Maokai slipped through the draft entirely the last time. Maybe we see things like the Sylas starting to creep up, but Kali could also be in there. I wouldn't be surprised to see them try and lend in towards something for Wei in these early stages as well, as that has kind of been the comfort for RNG for a long time.
There's been taken.
Yeah.
And glad to see it. I don't think Sivir Yuumi was the meta that anyone was excited for in this series. But now, what is the option going to be from RNG? You talked about blind pickable top laners, the LeBlanc ban, potentially showing us some preference on the mid lane matchup, but bot lane wide open as well. I feel like with Graves off the board, you got a lot of choice left, a lot more flexibility in terms of what you can prioritize for jungle pool.
Sejuani is going to be the first pick, and I think that can go in Breed's hands or Ways. I actually expect it to go into Breed's hands because he was struggling last game a little bit. It was a very tough game from jungle onwards, but this is a very comfortable champ, very easy to blind pick, and we'll see how T1 respond. I don't think they're going to blind the Ashe Heimerdinger, surely not, right? I think RNG will be able to match you with a response if they dig into their pocket, so they're just going to take away the Viego. I wonder if Akali is high prio.
I'm also curious about the Aphelios, right? Maybe you just take the Aphelios for Gumayusi, you say, hey, Gala, Ming, not really they're not going to play Heimerdinger or Ashe, at least when you look at them domestically, right? So I think if you try and take away the Aphelios, maybe you get the Lucian Nami then for RNG, and you can still try and, you know, answer for that. But no, it looks like they're going to be going with yourself, Kadro. Kali going to be up on the prio list.
Yeah, I think it's such a powerful champ if you're playing Sejuani, one of the strongest melee champs to pair up with her, and denying that makes sense. I wonder if Xiaohu goes towards the direction of a Sylas. We haven't seen it yet, but Galio could also be another one.
I think Sylas works really well because you've already got the Sejuani, right? If you put that into the jungle for Wei, you got the Sylas, you got Sejuani, you got the Fiora in the top side as well. There's the skirmishing RNG wanted.
There is the exact draft we want. Put the Sejuani jungle, get a carry for Breed, don't play any of that safe stuff, and make sure you have a brawl-heavy topside. How does Zeus respond here into Fiora? Jace would be a Zeus classic if they want to opt into a pure counter in this matchup. GP, Yone, this guy has so many carries in his pool, but Zeus's Jace is what I think is the best suited here, and he's going to lock it in. I'm just going to say it. For those of you at home, Zeus is the best Jace in the world.
And I think he's still in a good spot, especially into things like the Fiora, right? You can still play for poke, you can still play to push wave, but it is going to be a case of, again, looking at Owner, you try and facilitate that, getting control over topside, getting that vision, but when I look at RNG's top end of the map, that becomes very difficult to do.
Interesting that T1 are the ones banning away Aphelios there. I'd have thought that's something that RNG would have to ban away, and that's something that Gumayusi could look for on 4, so we'll see how this bot lane evolves. Kaisa is something that works really well with skirmish heavy topside, something that can actually get in there and be self-sufficient in diving. Kalista is another one, but I don't think T1 will play that one. Gumayusi struggled a little bit with it, and Gala doesn't actually play the Kalista. There's the Lucian ban.
I thought it'd be in the opposite side. I assumed that it was going to be T1 who were going to ban away things like the Lucian and make themselves more comfortable, but glad to see what Gumayusi wants to try and go for. The Kalista, as you said, is still open. Maybe we end up fishing for something like a Draven. We saw 8 times out of Gumayusi over the course of summer.
I wonder if we're getting Kaisa versus Tristana here. No, the Tristana ban's coming in, so I think Kaisa has to be the ban here for RNG, because I thought that if Tristana was up, if you blind Kaisa, they will pick Tristana, but now T1 have banned that away, so the last kind of dive-heavy champ left is the Kaisa, because I don't think either of these teams will lean towards the Kalista. We'll have to see, though.
Final ban here. T1 going to get the luxury of final pick as well. So much power to shape bot lane, and it's the Heimer. RNG giving it that respect after the previous match.
I'm curious if we actually see something like a Sivir Lulu come out, just because we've gone so far down the ban list. I think Miss Fortune can still be brought up, but I mean, I don't think she's won a game at Worlds yet. I know she hadn't up until a few days ago, so I would be very surprised to see it. But yeah, it looks like Gumayusi, we talked about the Draven going to be coming out. I mean, makes it very difficult to go for some of these short-range AD carries.
Renata is the lock-in here, so that opens up a lot of flexible kind of bot matchups, because Renata compare very well with everything. RNG, what are your options? What is something that they want to lean towards? MF's a good team fighter, you highlighted. Jinx Tom would be something that's safe. Kaisa is something that Gala is known for across the world, to dive in and help the team out. Supportive, dive heavy, hyper carry, he can choose anything right now.
I mean, it'd probably be the Jinx, realistically. I think you need push in mid, but yeah, okay. I think go.
T1 were thinking of a Kai'Sa themselves, but Gala will happily pick that one up.
And this game is going to be so incredibly explosive. All of these champions, when they have a lead, can take over a map so incredibly quickly. But if you fall behind, it is going to be so punishing. The Akali, the Viego, whether it's the Silas or the Fiora on the opposite side, game 2 will be much more explosive.
I'm really curious though, because you don't really want something on the bot side that you want to give a ton of resources to when you look towards the Jace in the top end. So could it just end up going back towards Sivir? The Kalista is phenomenal with Renata as well. A ton of pressure in the 2v2. Do we get it?
Xayah is also a good one. Not so much a counter, but does well into Kai'Sa, because every time Kai'Sa ults on you on mid waves to assassinate, you can match your ult on her dive. Kalista didn't work out very well for T1 in the regular split. It's a positive win rate, but Xayah is the lock-in. This is 2019
yes,
throwback of the meta. Fiora, Silas, Akali. We've got the Kai'Sa Xayah as well. Just go back a couple of years and this is the meta as well.
I stand by, that was the best meta of all time. This game is going to be so incredibly explosive. Small advantages can turn into big ones. Outplays can happen at every single opportunity. For RNG, they are fighting back from a deficit. They do not want to be in a position where they are forced to reverse sweep T1. Again, need to find it here. And for Zeus, breathe on the top side. This is huge. The blind pick Fiora, the confidence to bust it out, but you're going toe-to-toe with a man who, as you highlighted, Cadril, the best Jace in the world. And if you want to keep that title, you have to keep winning.
On the bot side, though, it's an absolutely terrifying combo for RNG, right? We always talk about Gala's Kai'Sa, but I mean, Ming's Nautilus is the best by far in the LPL, and honestly, probably tracking forward towards best in the world. What this man can achieve in this pick is absolutely insane. Didn't get to see a huge amount of it last game because he's basically hooking himself in to try and engage and die, but in a composition like this, he can be the difference maker for RNG.
Skirmish heavy on both sides. I think junglers can play towards basically any lane. Mid will be a lot of contest of the wave, trading health bars to get the push. Top lane, the Jace needs the push to get an individual lead up against the Fiora, so that'll be something that T1 will have to cover. You've got Nautilus into Renata, who if Nautilus can start hooking forwards and jungles around, they'll always guarantee a kill, so the junglers are under a lot of pressure this game.
And it feels like a huge amount of it, for me, is going to be split, right? I think for RNG, as you say, playing towards Nautilus, playing towards the hooks to get this guy's ahead is going to be your best bet in the early stages. But for Jace, you want to make sure he can get this lead.
And here we are. Game 2. Game 1 controlled, it was clinical, it was calculated. The vision, the macro, flawless from the side of T1 and RNG. They threw some punches, but they just did not land. This time around, much more explosive.
So Wei is actually running phase rush on the Sejuani. Didn't go for the aftershock. Wants something that can get in and get out alongside that blue spike. Ranged bot lane for T1, so RNG warding that middle brush. Looking for all-ins on that level 1.
So the phase rush is something we see a bit in the LPL, specifically into very slippery people like the Viego, like the Akali, because you get the opportunity to try and chase up and see if you can keep chasing until you actually get that kill. But we'll have to see if he's going to find those opportunities. But certainly when you look at this, I think you're right, Cadril. Like, this is going to be a brawl. This feels like it's going to be so many skirmishes all over the place as each side tries to get that early lead.
And before we get into the laning phase and potentially even this level 1, Prime Gaming is giving away 150,000 RP to Super Lucky fans every single day of Worlds. Head over to primegamingworlds22.com to enter and make sure to put in today's secret code to get bonus entries. You can see it in the graphic there. In the meantime, though, keeping our eyes on these first few levels. Again, little things, getting level 2 first. The smallest thing can make massive differences in these laning phases.
Both junglers pathing top. Owner recognizes that Zeus needs to push in this matchup, so he wants to slow stack waves and poke the Fiora down. While Wei is going to go up there because their 2v2 is quite strong. Fiora Sejuani incredibly powerful at things like level 3 and level 4, only gets stronger towards that level 6. There's a hook from Ming already.
Good poke. Not quite able to fully stack the plasma from the Kai'Sa passive, but still overall solid early trade. Expect Carry and Guma to hold on to the push.
Yeah, I'm curious to see exactly how Wei goes here. You've already moved up towards blue buff. He's going to try and clear that one out. And I'd say immediately try and go topside. Breathe should be in a decent spot here where you see how the wave is set up to actually try and hold at the moment. Like, it will be slow pushing into him, but may actually be able to get in towards that topside quick. Going to go towards Gromp first, though, so maybe a little bit slower and actually getting in to help Breathe on top end.
Look at that level 3. We'll see if he leans towards that top side. Zeus trading really aggressively. Nice W there from Breed onto Zeus to stop the shock blast and land the slow and the damage. A lot of trading mid. Of course, it's melee matchup. Akali can innately be a little bit favored in terms of getting the push with her Q, but this could just be a dead Jace. Owner's not here to cover.
They got the setup. How many stacks? Already close enough to get the stacks down. Trying to follow up a little bit more. Leaping forward. Zeus now flashing out to safety, but here comes the Viego. It's too little. It is too late. First blood for RNG.
That was so well played by by Wei. He skips the blue and just barely manages to sneak past Owner, who'd gone to check to see what was happening in the top side. So Wei just barely manages to catch T1 unaware and punishes Zeus for it.
That is a massive play there for RNG. Wei goes for the fastest level 3 in the game. Gang's top. Owner has the smite. Wei does as well. We'll see who picks it up.
Get it. Go for the stun stacks, waiting, trying to get it. He will. Pass down. Owner on the retreat, but already stacking. Here comes Breath in the meantime. Owner running. But it looks like they're just going to retreat. Do not want to overcommit to the play.
Faker on the way, and Wei not having smite means that Owner should be able to secure the crab, but the action's not done here. We'll see if Wei wants to queue over. Zeus has no flash, but there's no vision. But with the mist, they'll know that Viego's over the wall. Wei will take the base, put the ward down, spot out Owner, but great pathing from Wei. Owner may be thinking, he's saying in comms, Wei might not just do 3 camps in the top, but he did, and Owner was just way too late to respond. He's coming into River now, but Wei just sneaks past him, that he doesn't have the vision. So Zeus thinks that he's safe and gets caught off guard.
Is so well done by Wei there. Barely able to sneak past. And I mean, this is what we wanted to see coming through from Wei, right? Getting out onto the map early, affecting the lanes for RNG. And the fact that you actually managed to get Zeus with both Flash and his TP now down just means you go for a repeat on that top side and make it even more vulnerable for T1.
And we talked about how high stakes the early game can be in a game like this. And that's a play that exemplifies it so perfectly, because that is the difference of 15 or 20 seconds, 10 maybe even, of getting there first, of getting there before Owner, finding that angle. Now we check in on the bottom side of the map, and as expected, Puma and Carrier holding on to a little bit of a lead, although Gala, farming back pretty well, should just match this as the wave finally does come crashing in. So quiet for now. Level 6 for the Silas, or for the Akali, will be a catalyst for more action, but keeping our eyes on the junglers as the lanes are relatively full.
Oh, wait.
Can proc phase rush here and just try to zoom out to safety? Might just have to do that. He's now one very fast Poro rider. Faker trying to sidestep. The stun already now coming in. Xiaohu, where's the ball going to go? Locking it down. Faker, he's trying to flash over the wall. Where's the response? They don't want to risk burning anything.
Sejuani incredibly quick with the Lucidity boots and the phase rush. Owner has flash, but Ming is here.
Not done. Here comes the Poro. Owner forced to flash out, and RNG taking so many small advantages across the map.
No flash to follow over, but again, RNG using the push that Gala and Ming have on this bottom side. You can see the difference when RNG actually have some control over the map. They're trying to get in the face of Owner and punish him for that game 1.
So let's take stock, because RNG now have the push in top. Breathe has flash advantage into the Jace and is getting the push. Wei is up in experience over Owner. Zhao, who now has the advantage that Faker has no flash, and bot lane's in a pretty good state for RNG. Ming being able to leave the lane, and with this ranged matchup, not too far behind just yet. Gala as T1 are stacking these waves, and gonna get only harder from this point onwards, because when Wei takes over at level 6, could be some free kills in these solo lanes that Owner needs to cover. He's moving his way up towards his top side, but he's level 3 at 6 minutes in the game. He's very close to level 4, but he's dropped a lot of camps to look for this play. Breathe has the flash. Zeus has a decent wave in terms of slow stacking, but this will push into Breathe. I think he's happy just staying back here.
On the experience chart, Breathe now walking away. Trying to step back here. Good auto attacks, but they don't really have the follow-up. Breathe holding on, it looks like, to the parry. Knows that he's fine and just walks out.
There comes Wei, though. This is what they're waiting for.
Level 5. Can move in. Can they find the stun on a single target? That's 1, 2, 3 stacks going on to Zeus. Looking for the 4th, looking to lock him down. Catch it in midair. It's a freeze frame moment. It's a 2v2. The grand challenge has been issued, and T1 cannot answer.
RNG topside playing to perfection there. Breathe holds the W for so long. Wei comes over the wall with the blast cone and arrives just in time. Zeus has no flash. Owner has no flash. The level up from Fiora. 3 kills to the RNG topside. This is the bounce back they needed.
You knew when it was T1 and RNG that it was going to be a banger. The fact that RNG managed to finally defeat T1 in an international best of 5 of MSI, and now coming into Worlds, they want to see if they can repeat it, or can T1 show why they were dominant against this team for so long.
And already we're ready for another 1v1 in the mid lane. Xiaohu taking away the perfect execution. Can we take a look back at this clean play from RNG?
So Breathe doesn't riposte the stun, but Zeus misses the shock blast on the stun. If he had connected that Q, I think Breathe would be way too low to fight this in a 2v2. Blunder there from Zeus. Punish from RNG. Breathe's looking for level 6 on the wave. He's asking Wei to even smite the creep, so the kill actually levels him up, so he flashes forwards. Movement speed from the ult. Starts proccing the vitals. Good turn there by RNG. Mistakes by T1.
And gentlemen, we were ready for action across all 5 lanes. We were ready for plays across the board because you have 10 world-class players in this matchup. Now we see the 1v1. Xiaohu getting cheeky here, not going to push for anything else, but topside has been everything in these games. Way versus Owner in the jungle, Breathe versus Zeus on the top side, it's everything.
But this was the top lane gauntlet, right? When you look at this side of the bracket, it's absolutely insane, the talent that is up there. And when there is that discussion about who is the best top lane in the tournament, Zeus has proven it in game 1 that he's able to get the upper hand against Breathe, but this time around, RNG are trying to give that helping hand to Breathe to see if they can take back that title from Zeus.
Here he is again. Zeus has the flash though, so he should be alright. Breathe holding these waves as close to his tower as possible to make sure the Jace is vulnerable, to make Owner have to respond. Bot lane in isolation going well for T1, but it looks like RNG want to force this Herald. Ming moving through mid this top side. T1 bot lane ready to match. Faker incredibly low, but he has the ultimate advantage over Xiaohu. T1 trying to force their way in.
T1 with the man advantage though. Brought the whole bot lane up. Guma already focusing on knocking down the mid wave. Eyes on the prize, eyes on the objective. Gala, of course, has the mobility of the ultimate, can try to get into a fight. T1 already retreating, knowing they do not want to overcommit. They remember the Herald in game 1.
There's decent poke from T1, but as you say, once Gala ends up coming up here and none of that poke landing, RNG are free to start it up. They're very worried about a quick turn going on towards T1, so they'll just back away instead, look for the cross map and pick up the first dragon.
Cross map coming in, like you said, will always favor the Herald naturally, so RNG are probably pretty happy with this trade. Wei can just clear his top camps out as well, and I mean, will we see a Herald top again, similar to game 1, where getting your top laner ahead is everything? Wei has a couple of options. Number 1, place it top and get Breathe ahead. Number 2, place it bot and get Gala back into an even state up against Gumayushi with this CS deficit.
Yeah, I'm wondering if their RNG are actually trying to set that up pretty quickly, right? You saw Xiaohu cancel his reset. He's going to push in mid, get that crash. Should be able to then TP back into mid lane and maybe look to see if they can contest next wave mid and immediately move up towards this top side.
You could also place it mid, but I mean, you will never really get the tower with so many melee champs, right? Your only range champ is the Kai'Sa, so it's not like you can force them back unless you're threatening a dive. Threatening a dive top seems a little bit easier, like you said, if Xiaohu can get that move. He's going to base and TP back in towards mid now, we expect. So this gives a window for T1 to have mid lane on their own first as Faker hovers in the river. Breathe, he's going to face check here.
Walking forward. Does a riposte, is going to block the shock blast as well. That's a nice little bit of extra. So he will walk away there, but you can see Owner feels like he has to cover the top side because if Wei is there, it could all fall apart so quickly, especially with the Herald in his back pocket.
The dangerous part for RNG in trying to use this Herald, though, is the fact that Faker still has his TP. He was able to walk back to lane, manages to match the push from Xiaohu. So if you end up having this push come through from RNG, it does give the opportunity for Faker to still match with that teleport.
Wei is not leaving this top lane. He's now looking for a lane gank onto Zeus. If he lands that ult, he's as good as dead. Breed's pushing him back so that Wei can move up in the brushes. 1v1 mid.
For the 1v1. Xiaohu trying to dash safety, but Ming is here, and it is not a 1v1. Faker, though, so quick to get out.
What happened to the Nautilus ult there? It looked like Ming channeled it because Faker did so much distance with his ult and flash. I think it just cancelled on the spot. If that followed up, maybe Xiaohu could have looked for the kill. But anyway, RNG focusing top.
Wei coming up.
Going to be looking here, going under the towers. Ace is alone.
Perfect mark location to try to finish the job. Grand challenge, 1 reset, already healing up. Owner stepping forward, but there's no follow-up. All he can do is clear the wave.
I mean, this is heartbreaking.
Owner, another stun! Has the ulti, desperate to try and find a kill, but playing with fire to even step up there.
I mean, RNG are still going to be able to push in here. Owner does need to be careful. Looks like they will back away, but again, more kills to Breed, more kills going towards that top side for RNG. And as you say in mid for the depth charge, if you end up out of vision, it drops depth charge. There is a cast time on it. Unfortunately, Ming just wasn't quite able to get there. And now Owner backing away, beaten, battered, and bruised. Owner not having the game he had in game 1.
Yeah, if they lost vision, that makes a lot of sense. So Faker just about gets out, and RNG basically saying to T1, anything you can do, I can do better on this top side. 4 kill participation for both the top jungles. This one again here, because Faker Xiaohu trading really aggressively. Level 8 to level 9. Xiaohu has the E to cancel Faker R2. Lands it. Does he lose vision here, I wonder? I don't think they lost vision. Xiaohu was there. It just didn't cast off in time to gap close onto Faker, but then the dive comes in. They manage to kill Zeus. This top side going in favor of RNG so heavily now here in game 2. And Breed, a player who's, this is his first World Championship. This is his first international event, so Wei making sure he feels comfortable.
I mean, even when you look at Wei as well, I mean, this guy had a meteoric rise. Going to be in the mid lane as well, moving across from E-Star immediately onto RNG, and suddenly thrust into one of the top teams in the LPL. I mean, this has been a guy that has had to step up to play with some of the best people in the world, and he's done a phenomenal job of becoming an incredibly strong jungler as a result as well, of kind of being under the tutelage of a veteran like Shen.
Yeah, RNG have never really failed to slot in superstars. When they feel that they're right and they manage to succeed under this historic organization, they stick. Players like Gala as well.
That's the stun, gonna get the E follow. But it's gone, where's the... No follow. He's not gonna chase, they're not gonna overpush, they don't want to overcommit.
Still have the Herald. I wonder if they're going to drop it. Yeah, they are. So they are going to go for mid plate. The problem we have here is T1 can collapse really quickly. They have bot push. Faker's going on the Xiaohu.
Back Xiaohu, they burst down Xiaohu, they get the reset, and they will find one owner. Taking away the body is now the Silas can leap it away, but the chains not connecting is big. Can reset now, wants to continue, wants to keep it going. Owner looking for redemption in the early game, trying to take away, but in the tower is too much. He cannot dive. Buwei playing like a magic. To the end. He knows he's overcommitted. Owner caught in no man's land. Carrier tries to save his jungler, but it is not enough.
It's never a 1v1 when you're facing RNG. There's always more people on the way, and Ming, once more with the roam, able to get the success on the depth charge this time.
Frustration setting in here for T1. RNG always first to the play. Ming will get a little bit chunked out there by Carrier. T1 have this bot push, they have this lead in bot lane, but they can't transition it into anything. Ming is always dropping waves to make sure he is first. Breathe is first from top as well. Owner going way too deep onto the enemy territory. We'll see if Ming looks for something here as they're looking for this last plate. 10 seconds left.
Faker first on the roam. Has used the Scryer's Bloom. See if they want to go for anything else here. And really, it's just been on Gala and Ming to survive. The only place where T1 have the gold advantage right now is this bot lane matchup. Big lead individually for Guma. But have to try to find a way to leverage it because you've seen how far ahead Wei and Breathe are.
And it feels like it's going to be the Dragon that they try and use it for, right? Gale Force already completed for Gumayushi. It's such a big spike for him, so if they can immediately move over, maybe that's where they can try and use that advantage. But, I mean, just look how big Wei is. 1.5 items already completed at the second Dragon spot.
Does RNG contest, Breed spacing. He has Unleashed Teleport as well. Zeus is going to match him because he knows he needs to be ready in case RNG pull the trigger on this Dragon. Xiaohu's getting midway mid, Gala fishing around. RNG slowly walking up. No vision though, no TP flank wards. The way he just queues over with no flash. And T1 are just going to give it up right in their face. Gala's moving up. Faker's on mid-wave.
It's so hard. Carrier doesn't have his ultimate. He has no great team fighting tools. They just walk in, they take everything they want.
Wow.
They had no vision on Breathe. Breathe had reset and had already started to move down towards the bot side, and that's why T1 weren't sure if they wanted to commit the TP from Zeus or just let him get back up to the top side and try and catch that wave. So without that information as to where the 5v5 of RNG was, they back off.
Pull back, handshake. Hard to use the feathers. Ulti now coming in. Faker trying to outmaneuver the play, but it's just so hard. The point and click stun. Still Faker. No flash. Should make his way out here. Clean sidestep. What?
Manages to dodge away from the Sejuani QW combo, keeps himself alive. Ming had to blow the flash, T1 really trying to force this bot tier 1. Would be first tower of the game, but a lot of things happening on the map. Breathe and Zeus return to this top side. T1 think they have a Dragon. RNG just steal it right in their face, but they focus on bot push. And I think they will be able to get this tower with Xiaohu TPing back mid.
I mean, it could even be the Rift Herald, right? Breathe has already started that up after pushing in on top side. Zeus playing this very safe, knowing that Xiaohu had that TP advantage. He's not actually able to contest that top wave, so they will just move in over towards the Rift Herald. T1 respond with the turn on bot in.
Yeah, and what I'm talking about dropping waves, Ming just left bot lane around 10 seconds ago and ran straight towards top. He knows that tower's dead. There's no point contesting 2v2. Make sure you cross map, and they will pick up this Herald. I think this will go towards mid, I imagine, but that tower's incredibly low. Could be something that Gala decides to pick up if they get a mid push. But yeah, Gala's been the one struggling. Bot matchup's very difficult. Ming's been constantly leaving him, but to their merit, top side is very far ahead.
Yeah, I think they're going to put this in towards the top side with the Rift Herald, but they do have to be careful because look at the T1 members. They're already moving a lot of players up to this top side, aware that RNG probably want to make a play, especially with Xiaohu leaving mid lane.
See what the option is going to be. Breathe stepping forward. Owner and Zeus in the area, but Carrier ulti back up and available. Have to be careful not to over dive here as for now. T1's bot lane moving into the mid lane. And remember, they're so strong at this stage of the game.
Yeah, this is the point where we'll see the lanes shake up a bit. T1 putting their bot lane mid, contest mid push. Therefore, RNG will match with their bot lane. Faker goes down towards bot, so Xiaohu will match. But he has a lot of time here, Xiaohu. He can wait until this wave gets to the tier 2, so maybe RNG can look for a mid tower here with Faker showing bot with no TP. Pings are coming down from T1 saying we need to defend this. Zeus has the TP, but is it really worth investing onto this mid tower? But it looks like RNG will just back away, Xiaohu going back towards bot.
And that's the thing, is the back and forth here from RNG pulls T1 into mid lane, so now they're actually going to use that play top lane. So nice job from RNG drawing T1 around the map and now getting that numbered advantage that they needed.
Moving up. Owner in the area again, matching the 2v2. Still hard to pull off the dive here. Zeus has weathered a lot of that storm now. Want the clips.
Need to keep our eyes on Gumayushi and Carrier's movement here. They can cover this top play if they keep this mid push up. Alternatively though, RNG could just drop the Herald and get it down when they're showing on mid wave. So Carrier bases, Gumayushi's on his way up. Ming is moving up too.
Gun flashed out.
Good flash there by Zeus. If he got hit, I think he was as good as dead.
Pressure, though, again, continuing to mount, keeping Owner on that top side. Luckily has the Krugs to farm up for now, but you can see 3K gold deficit, Dragons tied. T1, when they had this kind of lead, the composition they had in the previous game allowed them to choke out all control. RNG don't have the same luxury. Still have to fight for these advantages, still have to try to find ways to press their individual leads. Not nearly as easy for them to just drag T1 across the map.
Yeah, and I think, again, you're going to have to see this Riptide being used before the next Dragon come up, so it makes it very difficult for you to try and bolster both those objectives and try and pick up one for yourself. But at the moment, T1 doing a great job of contesting side lanes. Zeus.
Grand challenge issued. 1, 2, and 3 standing against the wall, but he still might just get taken down to the skies. Thundering blow. Where's it going to go? It's just not enough. He's standing. Oh, they're auto-attacking him. Dueling. He flashed. And I'm not sure why, but it doesn't matter because Breed taking the air from the lungs of Zeus.
A bit of a questionable flash, but you take those. Solo kill Zeus on the Jace, and now Faker looking for Shao, who will dash away. Massive kill there for the RNG top side because that'll net them at tier 1. It might net them at tier 2 if Wei pops the Herald down here. Owner's on his way up, but Wei decides against it. They get the push and they're going to back away, or are they just going to help the push to make sure Owner can't find Breathe?
And again, we cannot sing the praises of Breathe enough. Blind picked the Fiora, Zeus picked his signature pick into it, and he is still finding such massive advantages. Individual 1v1s, when we talk about it. Faker now stepping forward, dashing through, looking to go back in, looking at the healing dagger, running, taking his soul, coming low, no, in style. He barely manages to escape, but Faker walks away.
It's such an honor to be able to watch these mids go toe-to-toe from mid lane to bot lane all across the map on this Sylas Akali. Neither yet to full in the 1v1. Faker really close to dying there.
You can tell how much this means for both these guys. Xiaohu, the first time he made it to Worlds 2017, he gets the semi-finals, only to be smacked back down by Faker. And now, finally been able to beat him. He wants to see if he can do it once more, but Faker, this guy's hands, after how many years of playing League of Legends, are still just so insane.
Yeah, dodges out from that kill in mid from the Sejuani. Nice sidestep. Here's the Herald from RNG to get this mid tier 1 that they've been looking for. 2 towers to 1 right now. Faker will take a base and he has the TP, and with these compositions, flank wards can be everything. All of these champs can do so much from a flank. RNG will pick up this tower.
Stepping in. New York alive with the sounds of RNG, but T1 fishing for a kill, trying to get something done. The resets for Owner are going to be everything. They want to burst through him. Gallagher damage. Wants to get it done. The plasma stacks. Oh, he's ticking, he's burning the ignite. The plasma will not be enough. They get the TP out. They walk away, they take the dragon as well.
Yeah, RNG don't want to overcommit there. Wei is on the dragon. So Faker TP's in and gets out, but Wei's not done here.
Wei going forward, Guma slowed, but not locked up. Good Gale Force to take him to safety, heal as well.
I mean, nerves of steel there for Gumayushi. Pops the Gale Force rather than popping the ultimate to keep himself safe. So we'll still have that one if RNG try to jump in onto him. But I think we're going to take it back a step. We're going to slow it down a little. The fact you don't have Dragon for a little while, Baron isn't really capable of being taken for a bit. Now it's going to be a case of the slow game. Push insides for Xiaohu, push insides for Breathe, try and get the last of these outer turrets down and look to play out the map again once more.
Just as T1 did last game, RNG sitting in a very similar position with that top side. Like you said, playing it slow. They have very heavy skirmish champs though, so if a fight breaks out or a pick comes through, then all members will run towards that lane. But what I want to say is that the consistent factor for T1 right now is this bot lane. Gumayushi, he's had a lot of flack this year. He struggled ever since MSI. He lost a lot of his confidence, he said. But now it's him who's the reliability.
He is slowed again. Another grand challenge, but it's just not fair. Wei and Breathe just bullying the top side of T1.
There is nothing grand about that for Zeus. That is just a disaster as Guma now in mid.
Zero.
Away.
Yeah, 0-5-0. He's going to lose his bot tier 2. He lost tier 1. He lost his top tier 1 as well. Wei just queued over the wall here. T1 trying to look for him.
Phase rush. Does he have it up and available? They're now trying to burn him down. Guma already has the Lord Dominic, so not as tanky as he'd like to be, but Wei just manages to walk it off.
RNG just playing with so much confidence right now. They own every side of the map, and Wei can make plays wherever he chooses. Gets down Zeus, who won't really find his way back into this game as Jace, unless T1 can find a miracle fight. RNG holding the vision line with these heavy skirmish champs will always be able to decide when and where to take their fight, but with this Jace being 2 levels down, I don't think they'll have any side push to work with this game.
And again, you highlighted Guma before, and I think we have to say it again. He is the strong point on this team. His third item is going to be massive for T1 hopes in this game, because again, no matter how bad the Jace is looking right now, 0-5-0, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. If T1 can take this game, it will be inconsequential as we move ahead in the series.
It's all on Guma right now, and Faker perhaps as well, to see how much work he can get done. Gumayushi, 11 games on Xayah, 91% win rate. It's one of his best champs next to Aphelios and Jinx. Struggled with the meta changes towards Lucian and things like the Sivir and the Kalista and the Caitlyn, but Xayah is one of his bread and butter champs, 2.5 items right now, and Gala is ready to match him on one of his signature champs as well.
And I mean, Guma's really stepped up at group stage as well. I mean, second highest in CSD of 14, fourth when it comes to goal difference. It feels like he'd kind of taken a new chapter coming into Worlds where we didn't see some of the missteps that we saw, and now we have to see if he can do it once more against RNG here.
A lot of pressure on him to take down Breathe, who's actually building towards a Frozen Heart. It's going to be a very tanky Fiora, not itemizing fully for side lane, but will help him on side lane, the Frozen Heart, but especially in team fights against the Jace and the Xayah. Xiaohu will get this tower. I don't know if he'll get out, though.
Xiaohu now has to try and run away. What ulti is he going to take here? Buying a bit more time. Xayah ult, of course, to get to safety, but they've still got so many cooldowns. He's still dashing. The Gale Force forward. He goes in. He goes golden. There's got to be no way. The healing will not be enough. Puma getting more money, but as you highlighted already, RNG kicking this off. Ming just trying to protect, just trying to stop Owner from getting into the pit. They have to retreat here. Clean pick from the side of T1.
They just don't have the damage on RNG. Like, even with the Kraken Slayer and the Plasma procs from Gala, just not able to burst through that quick enough, and immediately they back away. Now T1 get the push in mid as well. They should be able to take this as well as the pick on bot side.
Signs of hope here for T1. They managed to find their second tower of the game. Breed pushes in top and will take the base, but smart call by RNG to back away. TP's coming in. Will be as good as they can get. Zeus no TP. Breed can now match him bot, and they should be able to play the map once again. But T1 need more than just a pick. They need a couple more of those to re-establish some control over the map. 50 seconds on the Dragon. I don't think T1 will choose to fight it until Gumayushi has that Infinity Edge.
Yeah, it feels like for T1, maybe you have an opportunity to try and get into a position where you can, set up ahead of Dragons now that you've got a little bit of advantage on the push here. So you can get vision, look for a bit of poke with Zeus, maybe a little bit with Gumayushi. Maybe then you can just wait it, but RNG are so good at turning on a dime with the likes of Wei and Ming looking for this and full vision on this bot side. T1, I don't think they can contest this.
So incredibly difficult for T1 now. If they can force a fight without Breathe in it, maybe, just maybe, they stand a chance. But if that Fiora is in the area, it's going to be nigh impossible to take it. Owner's still stepping forward. Again, T1 looking to find these picks. Laying down this vision, trying to get control over the Drake. 9 seconds till it spawns, fishing for a way. Follow up there, but not nearly enough damage to find the pick. Gala now caught out. Gala dashing out to safety. Big ulti, but before the fight even breaks out, Xiaohu's now in the area. Breathe coming over the wall. Faker has to retreat. Call the ultimate stolen. RNG full control over the Dragon Pit. But T1, very slow play as they step forward. They burn some cooldowns, but ultimately get nothing in exchange.
They did get Xiaohu's CP though. They're trying to see if they can threaten the tier 2 and top side with Xiaohu, but now RNG will turn back over towards the Dragon. They're aware that T1 can't really do this farm without Gumayushi, so RNG going to slowly take back vision on this top side and make sure there's no trade for T1.
Yeah, T1 just fake pressuring their way in there. The proto belt from Faker to make Gala think twice about stepping up. He was never really going to commit in the first place. Has to lose his flash as a trade, but like you said, it stops top tier 2 from falling. They will lose the Drake regardless, but it's the 2-item spikes, the Shadow Flame, the Infinity Edge. These are the things that T1 need. The Last Whisper for Zeus, because there's so much armor on this top jungle of RNG. It's a matter of time until RNG decide to start up this Baron. Top tier 2 could be their next objective, or they could just wait for this soul.
But that's the thing for T1. It is so hard when RNG get control to actually face check. Like, who the hell on T1 wants to face check a Sejuani or a Nautilus here? Like, every single person falls in that case. So that's where you now need to get smart as T1 of like how you use your lanes to try and get some vision back, try and see if you can find a pick and disrupt the tempo that RNG have.
And it's something that we have to look at too. If we see more compositions like this with such explosive side lanes, RNG have the luxury of a very tanky Sejuani, of a Nautilus, these facilitators for big plays, whereas Keria, yeah, certainly we're not a very strong champion, cannot face check. Owner, he can face check if he's willing to instantly ult out, but it is not easy to do, and Breathe now stepping forward, just instantly taking away all of that vision, and Wei walking down. Zeus in trouble here. The stun now going to fall. Excellent Thundering Blow to try to knock him back. Still standing for now, flashing out safety, TP being used. Area knocking him back. Xiaohu in trouble. Where's he going to go? Leaping out again. The ulti going a little bit wide here. Gala, Breathe, Ming splitting the team. T1 retreating back under the tier 2 tower.
But now they can move over towards the tier 2 and mid. They pushed everyone on T1 to top side, and that just means they get the play in mid. RNG are doing a great job of immediately dropping one lane and just playing off of 2 and catching T1 with their pants down.
It's beautiful 2-lane play, and now Keria has lost his flash. Zeus has lost his flash. RNG aren't gonna go for the Baron Force, just starting it up to see where T1 are, and yes, they're still around on this top side. They haven't taken a base just yet, but RNG forcing plays to find advantage from elsewhere on the map. Infinity Edge picked up for both of these 80 carries, big break points for them.
I would also say, just when it comes to TPs as well, Faker blowing his to get into topside means that now Zeus is in the death matchup again, up against Breed. He's going to be the one that has to try and contest these side lanes against them, or else RNG can pull the trigger on a pick, on a play, on a Baron at any point in time.
And I think when you're a Jace in this situation, as you approach 3 items, it's not the Fiora, it's the flanks, it's hitting the backline, maybe taking out Gala, maybe taking out Shadow, because in the 1v1, it feels so impossible. There's so much armor on the opposite side. Maybe Zeus can find that angle. He has the luxury of that poke, but it's so hard to draw those lines of scrimmage and lay down those shock blasts when RNG are so content to just consistently split up the map until they find an advantage.
Definitely has a TP to help band-aid that a little bit. It really needs the Cyrildas, and I think the Jace is ideally just going to try to push out waves, get the Cyrildas group up, and just start poking down RNG so T1 can start stepping up and getting a little bit of vision control. RNG now going into this top side of T1, who will not try to fight back. They just need a little bit of sneaky vision around this Baron.
But again, look how good you're playing this for RNG. If you look at the minimap, you've got Wei who's just decided to creep into the bot side jungle. The second he gets out of vision, well, that's when you get the movement in here onto the top side, and that's why T1 are finding it so hard to contest the vision that's coming through for T1.
Baron started, I believe. No, RNG started and back away. They're just kind of pulling T1 around, and I think you highlighted it there, Dag, that they're waiting for Breathe to pressure bots. So T1 have a window to look for Xiaohu with no flash.
Going to overload the side lane. 4 members committed here. Xiaohu needs to find a way out, needs to find the angle for the perfect execution. Dash 1, and now immediately leaping out. He's trying to get out. He cannot do it. That's the pick, but it's already started in the mid lane. They're out for blood. Zeus, the weakest member of the team, now knocked down.
No flash on Zeus. Good response there from RNG. Here comes the mid push. T1 all have to base, and when they arrive back to base, RNG can peel towards bot. They can peel back towards the Baron. RNG constantly matching T1's plays. Picks for both sides, objectives for RNG.
And it's actually a good play for T1 to try and make this happen, but RNG are just so good at finding those opportunities, as we said, with Sejuani, with Ming, and the fact that Gala can instantaneously follow up with the Killer Instinct as well is clutch. Now, though, with the Dragon in a minute, this could be different for T1.
Exactly, Dak. 50 seconds on this Dragon spawn. T1 trying to get as much mid-push as they can so they can put a little bit of wards down, see if they can get some vision on RNG before they walk in, but we're going to check the replay here quickly as Xiaohu is the one who gets caught out.
Yeah, I mean, Xiaohu, he did his job, right? Tries to stay along as live as possible. Doesn't really actually end up blowing too much, and this doesn't even blow the stopwatch because he knows they're going to be looking at the Dragon fight next. But Wei immediately gets the pick onto Zeus. Gala in with the Killer Instinct. There's just no way you can escape away from that as Zeus.
Good flash to get the lockdown. Zeus just kind of laughing this one off. See if his confidence is hurt going into Game 3 and Game 4 in playing this Jace and being able to dominate the lane, because he's had a very, very tough one. RNG back towards his top side. 10 seconds on the Dragon. Midwave pushed in by T1. And they're going to move in. There's the ult.
Fishing. T1 able to walk away for now. Zeus waiting over the wall, looking to lay down that poke. Decent chunk out of Xiaohu. Not enough to dissuade any further action, though. RNG not too concerned about T1 trying to take the Baron now, instead turning their sight towards the Soul, but will just be a trade of major objectives.
Smart by T1. If they can rush this one down, then this will be a beneficiary for them because they can start to look for towers. They don't really care about Cloud Soul. Doesn't help too much in combat. They're going to burn it down. Ways on the way, but I don't think any time.
1K getting lower. T1 they get the Baron, but can they take the fight? Here comes Xiaohu, stolen the Run ultimate, now leaping under the backside. Xayah locked up a Guma.
Look away!
Guma as they fight in, they have to do it. Guma now moving forward, way on the backside. T1 pulling back, they're retreating. It's masterful for now. Guma standing strong. Guma still with all the up and available. If anyone can turn it, it's him. And RNG are pushed back. They cannot afford to fight into the Xayah. They have to walk away. They have to concede the Baron. They will not get both objectives, and T1 are out for blood.
T1 hold their ground. They make a play, they make it decisive, and they get out, but they do not stop without taking a fight in the face of RNG. They are not afraid to push them back, and they will base and catch these creeps. Soul to RNG, Baron to T1.
That was a game breaker right there. If T1 lose it, look at the minions in the base. RNG immediately rush the base and they can end the game. The fact that T1 stood proud, stood tall, and took that fight is why they're able to hold on to this game.
And we'll see what they can get with it, because now they're going to slowly start to push out these waves, recuperate, group up once again, and try to poke them out with this Jace. There's only a top tier 1 that they can look for. Pushing towards tier 2 seems very difficult in the current game state. RNG can collapse so quickly with this amount of move speed out of combat from the Cloud Dragons. and with the gap closed from their champions themselves. Looks like a mid-wave contest here. T1 going for a 4-1. Faker loses out on the side lane to Breed, I believe, with the more so. Zeus is there to Shadow, playing on 2 lanes here. T1 pushing in mid, moving towards top, looking for that tier 1 top. Still objective bounties up for them.
Again, as we get further and further in the game, important to keep track of the items and the power points on each team. Yes, top side's still strong, but the later and later we get, the less important way is going to be in terms of damage. It is really, it feels like the Xayah versus the world when it comes to DPS output from T1.
RNG, though, are still looking to make this pick. They know that the T1 committed a lot to the top side, but I wasn't sure if they're going to go for the bot lane wave instead, but it can't quite catch Faker before he gets the reset. But you can see RNG still trying to move around the map, keeping T1 on their side.
So this Baron is just to slow the game down. It's just to slow the game down until the Elder Dragon spawns. T1 can't look for objectives because RNG are too strong. But in the face of such a big gold deficit and Dragon Soul, T1's last chance will be this Elder Dragon. If they can secure it, win the fight, then they're all of a sudden back in the game, and they could even maybe end it. So they're just constantly contesting these mid-waves, pushing RNG back, buying their time.
And that means you have to hold on for the next 3 minutes as well. You've got 40 seconds left on that Red Bull Baron power play, but RNG are waiting for that timer, trying to see if they can find those picks and then continue to threaten the side lanes, continue to push T1 back and make sure they can't contest this Elder Dragon.
Elder set to be everything. Set to very well be the final fight in this one. T1 fighting back, it's incredible. When you think about the amount of players that have come from the T1 ecosystem, Faker, but every single player but Keria, playing their entire career on this team, on this organization, and the fact that they are all so confident to play such a high-stakes game of League of Legends, where every small decision has to be made so incredibly quickly. And you can see RNG now firing back, looking to lock up Faker, looking to take him out. He's leaping back to safety, but they will find him. They will hit the CC they need. Meanwhile, on the top side, Tier 2 is being broken, and RNG firing back.
T1 get the bot Tier 2 RNG match, but RNG have to pick. All of T1 need to base here and try to defend this top side of the map, but Zeus is staying around. Still have the buff. No, the buff actually expired. He's TPing to the base now. Cancelled his recall, but he's on the way back. RNG looking for this mid-inhib respawn. We'll see if T1 take the fight. They see Xiaohu on bot, but he has TP of his own.
Xiaohu in that bot end means that he won't be able to get this wave on top side. He won't be able to contest anything else, but RNG will get that mid inhibitor at least for themselves. 2.5 minutes until the Elder spawns, which means we've got about 3 to 4 waves that RNG can look to play off.
The idea there for T1 is just a cross map. Baron buff's about to fall off. RNG want to take your top tier 2. Let's take their bot tier 2, but Faker gets caught, so that exposes mid-inhib. RNG again coming out ahead with that pick. 2 minutes left. T1 need to start pushing out these mid-waves again. RNG needs to keep matching, and bot side vision is absolutely everything. There's no cross-mapping when the Elder Dragon's up. Baron will be up at the same time, but you always favor the Elder, especially with the champions in the game. You can just dive them on the Nexus towers, dive them on the inhib towers, and look for an end.
And that's why I don't think RNG are going to start up this Elder as soon as it comes through. We'll probably see a quick resets that are already starting to come through now, and then RNG just stay on the map. They keep pushing T1 back, keep them in their base, make sure that they actually can't contest this as it comes up. And if T1 have to try and pry their way into the darkness on this bottom side, into the Sejuani, into the Nautilus, that becomes incredibly difficult for you to actually try and contest the Elder Dragon.
Exactly right. RNG need to be there first. They need to be ready when T1 want to walk in. Most of the times, T1's going through mid and then finding their way into the objective, but RNG need to shut them down. Giving over the Raptor there. I wonder if Xiaohu's close to an item, something like the Shadow Flame on base. Has the TP to get back into mid. Gala with the GA should help him in self-healing, but he will probably want to be diving. There's a Shadow Flame for Xiaohu. Top push for Breed. T1 could look for a pickup here. Worked on Xiaohu earlier on, but Breed playing with respect, likely to take a base here.
The big thing though is look at the vision that's already been pushed in here by RNG. 1, 2, 3, 4 wards that are already there. And now with the resets coming through from RNG, it becomes incredibly hard for T1 to face check into this bot side.
Also TP advantage. Zeus backing just a little bit too late, did not have the empowered recall, instead forced to use the TP to defend the base. So again, so many small advantages going to start at RNG. The stage of the game, the vision very much in their favor. 35 seconds to the Elder, this is everything.
Gumayushi just basically picked up Bloodthirster. This is a 6-item Xayah. He can do work in these fights for T1, and he can show up big in this important best of 5 to keep them in the lead in the series. They're looking for something towards topside. Red buff spawning. They want to give it over to Guma. Give him absolutely everything for this dragon, but RNG are going to steal it away.
Take the red. And everyone on RNG has their eyes on those Xayah cooldowns. The ulti, the flash. If they can take a few of those away, the fight is so much easier for them to win.
RNG just want to pressure top. They have both their solo laners here pushing into Zeus, pushing into Faker, so it's just a solo lane match with TPs. It's a 3v3 around this dragon, but the wave has died. Everyone's coming towards this dragon. RNG have started it up. T1 looking for an angle.
T1 won't be caught sleeping at the wheel, but they're going to be forced to make a decision soon. They don't have the TP advantage, and already there's a Silas on the top side. They know that they have to force this objective. TikTok, or the game will fall away from them. It's a slow take on the Elder for either side at this stage of the game. TP now coming in. We're looking for the full-on 5v5. The pullback feathers are already down. If they get to the backside, if they get onto Gumi, it could all fall apart. But already, the ult is massive. The hostile takeover is big. Shadow on the backside. No! No, T1, how can you make this happen? You are absolutely slaughtering RNG. T1, when it matters, they stand, they deliver, and breathe all the lead. T-Built will fall away as T1 take the fight.
With 3 members of T1 still standing, they will turn towards the Elder Dragon as New York erupts and T1 find the fight they need against RNG.
What a miraculous fight. Faker buying time. Gumayushi untouched. Keria falls towards the end against Breed, but T1 cannot close this game out. They're going to get an Elder. They're going to move towards this Baron as well. RNG might have thrown it all away. The golds will be even now. Yes, you have the soul, but 2 huge major buffs over to T1. When they reset and come back out on the map, they're going to force their way through the base.
And the confidence from T1 there to run through the jungle, know that RNG are on it, because they spotted Xiaohu and Breeze on that top side. They knew that they would not be contested moving through here, and that's why they could force the fight that they needed to turn this.
It turns into an absolute mess, but let's watch Wei here for a second. Misses the ult, actually. Gumayushi used it. Hook hits Keria. Wei goes in, but the Berserk buys so much time. I think it hit 4 members. Fiora had to use the W. Zeus gets the kill with Owner onto the Sejuani, and it's Gumayushi's untouched. Full free hitting. Faker buying time, zoning away the bot lane of RNG. Initially 4 kills over, Keria falls, double kill to Breathe, who manages to pick Zeus as well.
And Gumayushi was the man doubted on T1 coming into the World Championship. It was all about Zeus, it was all about Faker, it was all about the top side. But he stepped up when T1 needed him most, and now he will need to do it again.
Oh, Gumayushi is back, baby, on the side, on the comfort. Almost 6k damage. What? Zeus was 0-6 before this fight. He finished 0-7, but he still managed to do 5.6k damage, and T1 have the Elder Dragon for the next 1 minute. They have the Baron for the next 2 minutes, and they've got their eyes on this mid-tier 2. Wei, though, is he looking to proxy waves, or is he looking for an engage? They have Elder Dragon.
Hostile takeover. Now retreating. Wei still hiding behind them, waiting for a window, waiting for an opportunity, knowing that the siege is still pressing forward, but T1 now stepping in. Wei trying to cut the wave while trying to make sure that they can't keep the siege. RNG holding on, standing strong.
25 seconds.
Looking for an angle onto the backside. They're all dashing out. Wei. Passive now fading away. So much squishier. T1, the death ball, barreling down mid lane.
Wei's just trying to be the scapegoat, trying to draw T1 away, make sure that they can't get their waves in place, and looks like it might have succeeded. 30 seconds left on the Elder Dragon. T1 will back away, but that's so much gold that have gone over towards T1.
And there's more standing gold as well. That top tier 1 is up. T1 was pinging it, but it looks like they're going to decide on a reset instead. Edge of Night picked up there for Zeus. Guardian Angel still on cooldown for both Gala and Breed. So RNG hold on. T1 have clawed their way back in.
We're starting to get to the point, as you say, where it doesn't matter. Everyone's hitting late game build. 5 items for Zeus, nearly at his GA. Xiaohu!
Xiaohu running and cut down!
That was the end of the Elder Dragon. There was a couple seconds left. They get the kill. That's 60 seconds on Xiaohu. T1 have Baron buff for 50, and they're barreling down mid. Breed's gonna base. 5v4. We'll see if T1 decide to force the Nexus.
They need to keep the wave alive. If this wave stands, they can do it. It's a super creep in the front, and T1 are marching towards RNG's base.
Breathe and Gala. The soul remaining carries. They have to make a miracle. The angle has to be perfect. T1 ushering in this wave. Ready to end the game right here. Keria standing behind him. He has the hostile takeover. The ult's up for Guma. I just don't see the angle. Now they're stepping forward. Owner finding the lockup. Ming now taking out. Hostile takeover. Going to zone Gala out of the fight. He can return with the ultimate if he wants to, but it might be too late. T1. No lockup. Owner now being knocked down. Hostile takeover gone. Have T1 overstayed their welcome. 1 tower going to fall. T1, what is the next call? GA already coming out. The knockup hitting multiple members. Keria getting locked up on the backside. Wei stepping forward. Breathe down. But no, Gala's still standing. T1. They take him out. They take Gala. RNG. But it's Breathe versus the world. And he will fall in the hands of T1. No.
Xiaohu's back. He can still hold on. He takes the ultimate from the Zaya, but can it be enough? Xiaohu, you need to save RNG.
EV1, he goes up, he comes down, but it is not enough. T1 go up to match point.
the soul. RNG had full control of this game until that Elder Dragon fight. And it's Guma Yushi who puts T1 on his back, puts Zeus on his back, and carries them to a Game 2 victory.
T1, when they're right on the brink, once more find it against RNG. That magic that kept RNG in their place for so long seems to be back as we now look at a 2-0 series for T1.
I'm just blown away by how confident they were in making those plays.